story to you. My late dad used to say, he went out and he came back. So my late mom and her step were just busy in parlor with their face very hard. I keep asking them, why are you watching movie with me today? I used to be the only one staying in the parlor this house. And leave me alone. See the time your father is coming. I said, okay. They are not enjoying the movie. They are not at peace with themselves. They are angry that my father was not yet at home. So when my dad came in, he quickly picked on, why is my son sleeping on the floor? Why is this? Why is that? So he countered the whole tension by not even caring to look at how they are feeling. So the first thing in defense, everybody started taking care of their children to the bed. Then my father come, are they in their room? I said, yes. I said, but Dad, why are you coming out? He said, wait, if I should show now at fault, these two women will gang. And again, nobody will sleep in this house. So what we need to do that a man has 101 way of saying sorry, but it might not really be that I'm sorry. So we are not trying to change the narrative. So the sisters, we should also now try to see that even when, I used to say off day, if a day is your off day, you are not has gone to, and most men doesn't know how to say sorry.
Most men and most women doesn't know how to say sorry.
Most men and most women doesn't know how to say sorry. They don't find it in their dictionary. Oh, I'm sorry there. I'm at fault. If it's wife, I'm sorry. I'm at fault. If it's husband, oh, sorry, Omi, I'm at fault. But most times, most people feel on top of themselves, out around the head of their family. No, I'm a woman, I can't just take me for granted. I can't say sorry. No. You should be submissive. You should say sorry when we err.
Yeah. From among yourselves, so that you may dwell in tranquility, and he has put between you love and compassion. Indeed, there are signs in this for those who reflect. From this verse, we can see that the essence of marriage is to find comfort, tranquility, and peace. Our homes are supposed to be our comfort zones. Unfortunately, sometimes this is not the case, either due to lack of knowledge, forgetfulness, or other distractions. So we are here to remind ourselves the essence of marriage. The rate of divorce is on the rise. Where divorce has become inevitable, inshallah, you will learn your rights as a spouse in matters of divorce. To this subject today, our erudite scholars, Ustaz Abdul Fattah Adeyemi is here with us. He is the founder and chief executive of Bainagum Family and Counseling Center. Also with him is Mrs. Hajia Rashida. I hope you leave here by feeling better, inshallah, to get better. Time is of essence. We have made a lot of mistakes in the past, and inshallah, we will learn a lot to correct them. Assalamu alaikum.
Happy COVID. How do you greet people that you didn't see them, since before the COVID time? That's when we were able to come together like this. And alhamdulillah, is it happy COVID survivor? How do you greet somebody like that? Happy survivor. So alhamdulillah, happy survivor to all of us. We give thanks to Allah that we survived it all. Truly many people have gone as a result of this COVID thing. Some people don't even believe it exists. But those who have died, they know that it existed. Ask them now, they'll tell you this thing really happened. Although we know people will die when their time comes, but nevertheless, some people have left, but Allah has spared our lives. All this while, up to this time, and we pray Allah should continue to spare our lives and continue to protect us from all evil. All of the efforts we are making to be safe, to protect ourselves, may Almighty Allah make it a worthwhile effort for us, and may Allah forgive us wherever we have made mistakes. As I welcome all of you, I greet you again, and I greet our special counselor for bringing up this area of counseling, pre and post, right? Pre-divorce period and post-divorce period. These are things that some people have never really thought about. And it is when we began to do this kind of counseling, we realized that there's something called post-divorce syndrome. Post-divorce syndrome. Even if the relationship was an abusive one, let's say the husband used to beat her every day, 3 times every day. After the divorce, there's that trauma, post-divorce trauma. There's that trauma of emptiness, of loneliness. Sometimes the woman begins to blame herself. Sometimes she thinks, it could have been my fault. Sometimes she will say, I should have been a little more patient. Sometimes she will be like, well, it has happened, but I heard that the man is now sorry for what he did. Sometimes she begins to say, okay, what will I explain to these children when they grow up? Will they understand what is happening? Sometimes she begins to wonder, okay, what next now? Where will I go with 6 children? Where will I go with 3 children? Who is going to marry me at this age? Am I going to remarry, or am I going to remain like this? For the beginning of that divorce, when the divorce process had ended, it may be, alhamdulillah, at last I'm free from that marriage that was not working. But after a while, being human beings, loneliness will start coming in. And at a point, we have nasgu and wiswas. Nasgu is something of temptation. Wiswas is something of doubt. She begin to feel, am I sure I did the right thing by leaving this marriage? Now that I've left now, who is going to marry me now at this age, at this time? So it will be like moving forward is not easy, going backward is not possible. Then the person that is divorced is now left in between. What compounds it most is that we don't have a society that is very originally, authentically sympathetic to women who had to leave. People are very quick to judge them. They be like, it's because you are not contented. Sometimes they say it's because you are not patient enough. Sometimes they say it's because your husband said you are not good enough. People will say all of those things. People will tell her tales without knowing her story. Some people will abuse her. Some people will vilify her. Some people will accommodate her. Some people will reject her. Some people will classify her. Some people will categorize her. Some people will pigeonhole her. Some people will look for a name for her. She is a divorcee. Sometimes they stigmatize her in that process. And sometimes they rewrite a whole new destiny for her all over again by way of attaching that stigma to her, and they expect her to remain with that stigma forever. In order to make it easy for her, they say she's a single mother or she's a working mother. Nobody wants to hear any story again. The fact is that whether she's the one that left or she was kicked out, nobody wants to know the details anymore. So even when some women had to leave the marriages on genuine grounds, the society is not ready to understand what they actually go through. It is worse those days. If a woman's husband died or she divorced, if she has reached a certain age, nobody wants to hear that she's going to marry. They'll be like, what do you want again? Why do you want to marry again? Why don't you stay and look after your children? Why are you looking for trouble? Everybody will pretend that she's not a human being anymore. Amongst those who will tell her, why do you want to marry again? Haba, there are those who will finish advising her to stay and look after her children outside the marriage on her own. After they advise her, they will go back to the warmth of their husbands. They will go and hug their husbands, and they will enjoy themselves in their own bedroom. And maybe her matter will come up once in a while. They will just shrug and say, oh, that's her life. That's her destiny. It will become a very serious issue. If such a husband of another woman now says, okay, that woman that's divorced, what if, or how about, you know when you want to tell a very expensive joke, Some men don't even know how to say it. How about marrying that woman that was divorced? Then everybody will be like, do you know what happened that she left? Do you know if she was not even the one responsible for the breakdown of that marriage? Do you know if she was insatiable? Do you know if she was discontented? Do you know if she was impatient? People will say all of those things. And so the general question now is, who is going to listen to her? Who is going to talk to her? Who is going to understand what she's going through? Who is going to accept that she's a human being? Who is going to console her? Who is going to give her encouragement to move on with her life? I think my sister here is amongst those people who have taken upon themselves to see that these kind of women are treated like human beings. There are pros and there are cons. There are hardships and there are eases. Part of the pros and cons and hardship is a question. Who is going to marry her? Who is going to marry her? Who is going to give her another chance to truly enjoy what marriage is supposed to be like? Let's even say she made a mistake for marrying the wrong person in the beginning. Who is going to encourage her to make her know that yes, she can still get it right this time around? These are very serious issues, very serious matters that are bedeviling this society as we see it now. That is about the one that is divorced. What of the one that is the widow? She didn't kill her husband, and she didn't have any agreement that that was when their marriage should be terminated. She didn't get any consultation from Asara Ib, who just came in one day and closed the eyes of her husband. She didn't bargain that her marriage should end that way. And this calamity, this test, this trial that happened to her could have happened to just any other person. But Allah has chosen that her husband should die at that point in time. She grieves, she mourns, she's sad, she's depressed, she's anxious, and it is endless, unless you can bring her late husband back. But Allah has designed human beings with very interesting and mysterious memories. If only there could be a substitution for the loss, maybe she can push the memory of her late husband to the recesses and push it farther backwards so that she can have time to prepare herself to enjoy the new life that she has found for herself. I know of a lady, she was 3 months pregnant when her husband died. And she married at the age of 22. The husband died when she was 3 months pregnant for the first time for that man. And she went through the pregnancy without the father alive. She was mourning and also expecting the birth of a child. She later gave birth to that child. The child's name is Zahara, a lady, a girl. And do you know that 13 years after, she's still single? If you can add 22 to 13, how many years is that? 35. That's 13 plus 22. That is 35 years. She is 35 years old, and there's still no husband that will replace the husband that Allah took away. So the question is, where are the counselors that will talk to her? And when you talk to her, at least you have solved half of her problem, even if you don't have a husband for her. The other challenge I want to give to counselors who will follow in my sister's footsteps is that you should be on the lookout, especially men. You should be on the lookout to look for another husband for her. See, when I say this, some people will wonder, is husband like something you go to supermarket and say, hey, give me 1 packet of husband, or give me 1 mudu of husband, or give me 1 carton of your husband. It's not like that, really. But not until this ummah begins to take it serious. Not until we stop being uncivilized. I say uncivilized because Islam is far more civilized than any other civilization you can think about. We are the ones that are to catch up with Islam. We are the ones that should understand that some things have to be done. And some people have to do it. We are even talking about women that are divorced. What of men that were left? Do you know that some men are also divorced too? You know that some women leave them and they are stranded on their own? You know that some women will leave and even leave the children behind for him to look after. You know that some men have suffered the trauma of divorce also. And it will take him a long time to even get over it. Many men, they begin to blame themselves as if they are not men enough to keep a woman. Whereas you can never bind something that does not cling. Some marriages are not meant to be. From day one, they are not meant to be. So if it happens, let people be there that will do what tawasaw bil haqqi, what tawasaw bis sabri. Those who are going to encourage each other into truthfulness and encourage each other to patiently persevere. And within that perseverance should be the solution to the problems that we have. These problems must be solved. Now, her own duty is like 50% of this matter. The remaining 50% is helping the fallen bird to go back to the nest where it fell from. It is helping the one with heavy burden to be able to carry the load that is too heavy for them. It is helping people to be back on track, to enjoy good life and have a happy marriage. Marriage is not for everyone, but for most human beings, we are designed and carved out for a loving and caring relationship in a marriage. Not all will result into divorce, because there are so many marriages now that are even divorced already. It's just that they are living together as roommates. Many people are still staying there in abusive relationship because of the fear of the unknown. What will happen if I should leave? They don't know what's going to happen next after they have left. A woman that divorced or was divorced at the age of 40, she's in between. She's not young, she's not old. And if Allah will, she can double that age. She can be 80 years old, she'll still be alive. How is she going to spend the remaining 40 years of her life if some people in this ummah are not taking her matter serious? So beware, everybody. This is something that should not be here for her alone. Let everybody begin to think of what can we do? How can we go about this matter to ensure that people have safe landing? And when they landed, for them to heal up. When they have healed up, for them to regrow their wings and for them to be able to fly again and be back onto the tree that they fell from. These are things that the Ummah has to do, and I pray Almighty Allah is going to make it easy for us to do the best in this matter and to succeed and survive in it. There's no shame in marriage in Islam. There's nothing like, I don't want anybody to hear that I divorced or I was divorced. Islam has gone beyond all that. But with the community, like Bainakum here, this is what we stand for, and this is what we'll continue to do until we are able to see that many other people have keyed into this particular thing that we stand for and that we hope to achieve, inshallah. Let me stop here unless there's anything you want me to say that I've forgotten. Okay, thank you.
Inshallah.
Allahu Akbar.
I still want to start asking us to start saying what the Father has told us now. But the word of contention is the counselors, the coaches have
Already.
a lot to do. And I think at this junction, I will invite my moderator, because I want to leave this time for her. That is Coach Fatima. Inshallah, she will continue from this place. Here we are going to have our coaches here present and ask them one or two questions for solving this problem. Boss, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi. Coach.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
It's indeed a great start for me. I'm his moderator online. I've never been in public. So this is my first time of holding a microphone in front of everyone. So assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi.
Jazakumullah khairan, Sister Khadija. I think you have a partner now. Because I think I will join you in this your journey. I'm really impressed with you. So, thank you very much, Ustaz, for appearing here. May Allah bless you too. And thank you, my moderator, for giving me the microphone without telling me. Because I missed my way. I don't know, just only, I'm just glad I was just with 1 minute. So I think my fellow coaches, my name is Falmata Mohammed Wakil. I'm a coach, a life coach, a humanitarian, and a marriage counselor too. So I think we have our other coaches with us here. Yeah, if I call you, you come with your chair because you're going to take your duty now and start. So if you have any question, you ask them and they'll answer you. But we have to start here now. So we have Coach Aisha Kapindaya. Bismillah. We have Coach Mariat or Abdul. Bismillah. Coach Ramochi Bello. I think you come over here, please. Coach Khairat Hal. Okay. Coach Aziz Abdullahi. Then we have the only man standing around us, apart from Ustaz here, Coach Nuruddin. My first question to all of you, the coaches here, is what are the causes of divorce? So, the first person I'll give you the microphone. What are the causes of divorce? What are the causes?
Assalamu alaikum.
Listen and judge.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. We are welcome to this honorable occasion. There are a lot of things that led to divorce in our homes. First of all, couples don't really understand themselves before they get married. And the moment they are into the business and we cannot manage the marriage very well, it will result to divorce. Another thing is understanding. That is understanding. That is one of the key problems we have in our homes. More so, tolerance. Where a man and a woman cannot tolerate each other. You pick quarrel on things that are irrelevant, things that we are not even supposed to look at as a problem. We take it as a problem. It results to a big problem in a home that at the end of the day, if we cannot control it, it generates into a big problem that can lead to divorce in our home.
Jazakumullahu khairan. Tolerance, write it down, please. The next person. We just want one. We just want so everyone can give us. Yeah.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. There are 1,001 reasons for divorces, especially as it is right now. Marriages are just breaking continuously. But most of the time, men come with a different idea of the marriage. The things that they tell the woman, when she goes to the house, they are not there. So that means some men, they start off with lies. They tell you a lot of lies, a lot of things that is quite unbelievable. When you come to the house, some men will realize that you end up feeding them. You end up taking care of the house. You end up going to the market. He's always demanding of you, please give me 15 naira, please give me 100 naira. Please, I don't have money to go to such and such places. You know, some men, they take advantage of women when it comes to marriage. So when the woman is so pissed off and she's tired of supporting and doing so many things, she'll get to a level that she will realize that this man is not ready to change. And he told me lies before coming in, only for me to come and realize that I'll be on my own. I'll be the one that will take care of the house. I'll be the one that take care of him. So some men, they started with a very bad habit of telling lies. They don't want to tell the woman the truth about their situation. Only for you to come inside and find out that you cannot cope. And some men are very, very abusive. They are very, very abusive. There are some men that will beat you and beat you and beat you for no reason. And some men, they hate the success of the woman. If she's too successful, they start attacking you. I have seen women that are going through such trauma. Because you are so successful more than him, he's now against you. He's no longer your loving husband. It's like he's your mate in a marriage that he's not happy with you. He's not comfortable with whatever success you are making. So I can stop here because there are so many other people to talk.
Telling lies. But for both men and women, you can't just say only the men now. For even the women, they tell lies too.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Well, divorce, what causes of divorces are so many. There are so many, we can't, it depends on individual. But some of the problem I know, patience. And patience is a virtue. We lack patience. I know it's not easy to always be on the receiving end. When he comes all the time, he's always on you. He's also not patient with you, and the woman is also not patient. But if we look back in time, we find out that our parents, what led to their success is patience. Our mothers are very patient. They don't expect too much from the husband. But the reverse is the case in what we have today. We expect so much and we get so little. The men go out there, do their struggle, come home feeling depressed somehow. They leave you at home. You are also depressed because you are also doing one thing or the other. Is it the children? Is it easy to handle them? It's not easy. So everybody is dealing with depression. So we have to learn to be patient with one another. I think if we are patient with one another, we can be able to work on our marriages in order not to be divorced. Because divorce is said to be the last option that we should have. Not just because of any little problem, I divorced you. You can go to your parents and so on. There's no pride in divorce to anyone, both men and women. So I think patience is one of the problems we have that causes divorce.
Patience, write it down, number 4.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yes, like, you know, when we plan for wedding, the wedding takes a whole day or a week. The marriage is meant to last for a lifetime. But sometimes it is not what we expect that we get. Like we started also to tell us in some of his lectures that if life gives you pepper, convert it to pepper soup. But in some cases, there's an aspect we are not really giving attention to. Sometimes on health challenges, health grounds can lead to separation. I've seen a situation where the couples have to agree on a mutual understanding. Please let's divorce because the man is not capable. We have thought so much about responsibility here. The wife is suffering from a health challenge, a condition that cannot take care of.
But now they have to now sit down and agree. Let's just go our separate ways. We'll be best of friends so that your family can come. Because this woman had other children from her previous marriages. They are grown up. So her condition required that she has to go abroad and be taken care of. And the way we are in our society sometimes, the children are not even ready to consider the man to be part of. So she just, for your life, to save your life, if you are alive, and Allah says we should still be together, we can. So sometimes, what I'm trying to just say here, and even if the divorce has to come, let's see that it ends in a mutual understanding. Because you can be divorced and still be best of friends. Only Allah knows how you can be beneficial to others tomorrow. You should not divorce. Divorce can actually come, not planned for, but if Allah says you are destined to be a divorcee at one time of your life or the other, it will happen. And when it happens, let's manage it with patience, love, and care. May Allah make our affairs easy for us.
Another point, divorce with conscience. Divorce with conscience.
For me, I feel most of the causes of divorce in our homes or in our marriages can be pinned on lack of emotional intelligence. Some days ago, I was listening to a video clip where a pastor from Florida, Orlando, killed the wife in cold blood. He shot the wife. And I looked at that video and I said, this is a man of God. Where is emotional intelligence? The problem is that most of us, we don't even think before we do. Now, with emotional intelligence, you have self-awareness. And what do I mean by self-awareness? You'll be able to know what you're feeling at that point.
There is that. Mommy no longer here is mommy. Just like that. What must have happened? It starts from gold. My mates are getting married. I will marry. You do not know what makes your mate to decide he wants to marry. You don't know if he has the financial strength to marry. You don't know if he has the emotional strength to stand it. You don't know what he has said that made him to decide he wants to marry. But after all, when you finish secondary school, primary school, and now he's getting married, I just have to get married. Your mate must have passed through so many training that he felt he had to marry. And he gets there, he's taking care of his family. You just decide, after all, I saw the other man, he's not feeding his family. If he does not feed and I give my own 500, I try. And you have forgotten, this 500 cannot take you to town and bring you back. The woman is the one you are expecting. I've given him 500 naira. He should cook for the whole month. How are we going to praise Allah before we say, okay, that's the time we can no longer talk? And Allah asking us, there was a day you give 500 naira to madam. How did you go about it? Did you see that 500 naira buying fish? What are you going to say? Then for madam, who agenda. There are a lot of things we need to think about. When we want to marry, I will beg all of us, let's just remember Allah. If you can't remember Allah, anything you do, you are just wasting time. You imagine the man, he has been working from morning till night. At the end of the day, he come home. No, don't beg, so I only come with 1,000 naira. Did you see your mate that brought 20,000? See that man, he just bought a car for the wife. Me, I'm just here. I'm tired though. No. What if he run into the road and the vehicle pick him up? So many men have died. As much as we know, men also have their own side. Many men have died as a result of pressure from their home. They close from work. He's not interested in going home. Okay, you know they go and say, no, let me just relax here. Maybe by 7, 8. He's not going home until 10, 11. He wants to make sure madam is sleeping. He wants to make sure everybody is sleeping. Madam will not sleep, even if it's 1 o'clock. When you come, he will still tell you that thing he's praying to give you. Let us try on your own. Sit down. Think about what am I going to do that will keep a smile on my spouse's face. Don't mind what he's doing. Probably as you are doing that, you also pray that may Allah make this spouse to see what I'm doing. Maybe himself at a point will also think of it. Let me also do something to make my spouse happy. By the time you are doing something right, your spouse is doing something right, it became the principle of these two hands. If one wash this and the other one leaves dirty, at a point the other one will become dirty again. But by the time the two hands, this one wash this one also come back to wash, the two hands will become clean. Marriage is not about competition. Marriage is not about I'm the one that won. I just need to make him know this. Every day keep doing it. If I don't make him know, he will not know. You are not the one to make him know. It's only Allah that will make him know. Do your own. Pray Allah will make him see reasons with what you are doing. Marriage goes beyond I do. A lot of things that go with it. But the first thing, please, when you want to go into marriage, learn to pray. Pray Allah to give you that person. Not for you to say that actually I'm fair. I just make sure that the person I'll marry is going to be fair. What if after marriage, Allah give him a condition that change the color? Will you leave him? Will you leave her? The man must be the type that has also accent. What if after marriage he has some problem? He must be a rich person. What if after marriage becomes poor? Let us think beyond these issues. Let's beg Allah to direct somebody to us. Because if you say Allah should direct to you, be rest assured He's going to give you the opposite of your thought. Oh. If you summon courage, after a while, He will start beautifying it. He will be showing you those things you never thought about. And before you know what is happening, you become good and better for it. There is one thing somebody mentioned. He said, he asked somebody a question one day. He said, Fanta, I'm sure every woman will want to marry him now. But do you remember the time he got married, he was just a mere almajiri? Yeah. If you have seen him then, will you marry him? Don't look at him from today.
So, thank you very much, sir. Because as the coach, with you. Mine is ignorance. Please avoid getting into marriage by ignorance. All of them are coaches here, and we have Benakum that you can come, even if you know over 1,000 things about marriage. You need a coach to guide you through the marriage. You might not know everything. So marriage is an institution that you enter. If you enter, it's just like a swimming pool. If you come to the middle, you can't go back, and you can't go into the front if you don't know. But Benakum Family Counseling Center is there for you. We have many women and men. So anyone that you can choose, if you come and talk to them, they can guide you. And with your husband, they will teach you and you get an everlasting marriage. You can stay for over 8 years and come and give the story. So, okay, what?
I still want to add another point to what I just said about the causes of divorce. In marriage, we should learn to starve our ego. Because ego is a very destructive thing. If we starve our ego and feed humility, I think we'll have a very good marriage. Oftentimes, somewhere in the Quran, I can't really remember, it said when everything we do seems first seeming to us. You find out that in the heart, just a little thing. We were discussing something about submission before Isaac came. A little thing. And the woman would say, me, tell him sorry. No way, I'm not telling him sorry. And the man will say, I'm the one feeding this house. I'm catering for you. I'm catering for your family. So you want me to come and meet you and beg you. And you see that it keeps building. It keeps building. So the day we learn to starve our ego, we'll find out that there will be congruence in the marriage. There will be harmony in the marriage. So let's stop feeding our ego and let's starve our ego and let's feed humility. Let's be humble and let's always learn to say sorry, because sorry goes a long way. Thank you.
So item number 7, please. Who are those in charge of person, please? So you can ask your questions now. We'll take it one after another. So ladies first, please. Let me start with the ladies.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
So my question to the coaches is this. For a woman is supposed to be submissive in her marriage. But does this mean that there is no time when I can be disobedient to my husband? Not in the form of trying to be disrespectful or rude. Perhaps we are trying to get an agreement, and I feel that there is something that is better, but because of the situation and where he is feeling at that time, he is not seeing reasons with me, and I go ahead to do what I think is right. Is this supposed to be a problem about me being submissive?
Should we get the questions then? You write it down and let me get the next question so that we can have two at a time.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
I want to add up to what she said. She talked about a woman being disobedient to her husband. Yes, in some situations, because of third-party contributions to the marriage and the union of the marriage, some women tend to disagree, and the men tend to label it as disobedience or not being submissive because their friends, their sisters, their this one, their that one tend to chip in into their marriage. And most women I know don't like that. They want a situation whereby the man and both of them come together to agree on a situation about them or the kids or wherever. But the men come with, oh, my friend said we should do this, so we have to do it. Or my friend advised me to do that. Oh, I went to my sister's house, she said this is how to do things. Or probably the women that have co-wives, the man will come and say, oh, my first wife, this is the way she has been doing this, so you too, you have to do that. It's not possible. So if you're the second wife, you would tend to disobey your husband when it comes to that, because you would say, oh, continue doing that with your husband, don't bring that to me. Me and you, we are two different parties, we are two different people. We should build up our homes. You shouldn't start bringing suggestions or opinions from other people to come and work, because they don't know me as much as you do know me, or they don't know our kids as much as they do know me, or the finances of this house is different from the one in their house. So we should sit down and discuss issues based on our own home. Then most men, when their wives tend to tell them that, they tend to play up to say, oh, who are you? I'm the man of the house. You shouldn't contest with whatsoever I'm saying, and so on and so forth. With regards to that, the husband and wife tend to have the husband and wife tend to have issues because they are always disagreeing on every other issue, because he's always bringing it because of this person, because of that person. And she would never respect him because of that, because they're always arguing. Thank you.
Okay, yes, it's ladies that okay, there's at least one, yes, let one brother speak then, 4 ladies, 1 man, 4 women.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Tunde Salman. I come from Kuje Area Council to attend this. I saw it online and I appreciate the choice of topic or the theme for conversation. And I also appreciate the last speaker that brought an important element that was not highlighted by our coaches, the issues of third-party interference. We used to downplay it. It comes from different perspectives. And some comes directly, some comes indirectly. It plays an important role in reaffecting the internal perspectives of the household. That's one. Secondly, we are Muslims and we don't live in isolation from the society. We are product of that society we lived in. Our coping capacity as individuals, as family, as Nigerians is also determined by the socio-economic realities at any material times in the country, which boils down to the capacity of the family to actually provide most of the minimum level of livelihood we needed to live. Our pockets is no longer expanding. Our pockets affect our material well-being, whether we like it or not, whether we are emotionally stable or not. It plays an important role. And all these things, the ability to navigate through all these situations have greater impact on the survivability of the household. We also, if for instance, isolated cases, perhaps we can say, okay, the divorce rate is low. But if the rate is higher than other communities, if you look from comparative perspective, if there are more higher rate of divorce among Muslims than non-Muslims, we need to really sit back. What is the systemic problem? What are the issues? Is it issue of disrespect alone? Is it issues of material well-being alone? We need to look at these things. Even if in the context of Nigeria, we couldn't get clearer perspective, we can go to our neighboring countries. What is the rate of divorce among Muslims and non-Muslims in those countries? Because we are all human beings, and we all respond to so many variables. These are things that we needed to appreciate. But above all, there is one surah that I got, somebody shared with me, which was, they called the surah to Hujurat. I don't know the Malam, but the way the Malam explained the eternal message in that surah, it talks about a whole lot of things that perhaps maybe if our Malam go back to those surahs and see how they can help us disseminate the lesson learned or the message encased in that surah for us, perhaps it can help us. But these are the thoughts that I think it is important. Particularly these third-party interference do come from the sources that we actually have the ability to resist. Perhaps if it comes from your parents or these things, and you also want to take your perspective from your own household, your family of enculturation is different from your family of production. Where you grow up, you are from different perspectives. Maybe the level of socioeconomic wherewithal in your house where you come from before marriage, if you want to transpolate it to your family of production, it may affect your ability to live longer than we pray for. These are things that we need to watch. It's always difficult to distinguish it where it's coming from. If you think, how could my mother, my father, or my great parents, or my malam advise me this, and my husband or my wife is taking it from other perspective? But let's base it on the reality within that household and respect each other and appreciate the fact that emotional intelligence, as one of our coaches mentioned, is important. When we have this emotional intelligence, not even only your own self, you can also look at your neighborhood. This is important, and may Allah help us to grow more better society, more better individual household, and may Allah help us wherever we might have been weak. These are my own little contributions. Thank you.
Please, let's mind the time. Time for group prayer, please. So I think the first, I don't want to answer the question.
Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, I'm so happy that so many beautiful contributions have been coming in, and I hope we're taking note of all of these contributions and these dimensions, third parties and everything. These are very serious issues. You know, one thing that is that gives me concern is that most of you that actually need to listen to these things we are saying, they are not even here. The people that really need to learn what we have been explaining, causes of divorce, ego problems, lack of emotional intelligence, all of those things, I wish people truly need to hear. I wish they were here. But that, let me just say something that we can use to tie it somewhere. Even we talk from now till tomorrow, some people will still divorce. In fact, after we finish from here, if you make calls around, you hear that some people use divorce as at the time we are discussing this one. And by tomorrow, people will still divorce. There's no way we can stop it, actually. I also understand that, you see this divorce thing, we used to think we are the only ones as Muslims that are divorcing. Unless you don't have many pastor friends who will tell you that every day people see divorce in their churches too. It's a general systemic thing. It's almost becoming an ideology of the world now. Everybody has a sense of freedom, and people are looking for some things within marriage that is not there. What marriages used to do those days, marriages cannot do them now again. Those days, only your husband is everything to you. It's your lover, it's your friend, it's your confidant, it's your discussant, it's your companion, it's your advisor, it's your master, it's your husband, it's your oga. It's also your megida. It's the one feeding the family, it's the one feeding the children, it's the one paying school fees, it's the one paying house rent, it's the one that will buy a car for you, it's the one that will fuel it, he will buy a phone for you, will buy credit. Don't install DSTV, Go TV, and you will pay subscription for all. And then it's up to your spiritual guide that will wake you up at night for the tahajjud. That was there. Now things have changed. The society is more dynamic. Roles and responsibilities are shifting. There is no thin line. There's very thin line now, and this thin line is disappearing between rules and regulations, roles and duties, responsibilities and obligations of the husband and of the wife. If you are doing lecture and you are telling husband and wife this is your role, they just be looking at you and smiling, because they know that whatever it is the wife that is paying house rent. The husband will pay house, the wife will pay house rent. Sheikh Suleiman, don't parents come to your school and you say it's actually the wife that's paying the school fees most of the time? So you now go and do lecture and say, husband, you must do this one. You must do that one. The wife will just look at him like this and smile. The husband, they say, you hear what they said? But she knows that her husband cannot cope. So we may begin to look at the realities and make people understand that they have to accept certain realities. Sometimes arziki, Allah ni may bad arziki. It's Allah that gives arziki. Sometimes he gives more to the wife than to the husband. It is a reality. Let no man start feeling jealous of his wife. If the wife has more money, so be it. Respect her like that and manage it with her like that. It's not that she's being arrogant. It's Allah that gave her the arziki. So let the man learn to calm down and be gentle. You should just chill and enjoy the money together. There are some roles in the home. The woman, by virtue of her upbringing, she may be the one that will be taking over a lot of things. I know some ladies, they have the number of plumber, phone number of plumber, they have phone number of mechanics, they have phone number of electricians, they have phone number of people who sell gas, they have phone number of people who do all sorts of things. And the husband will just say, go ahead. They said this kitchen zinc is leaking, call the plumber now. And the plumber has come to fix what is wrong, pay him now. Now, if if that is your own destiny as a woman, what I'm saying is just kukuma accept it like that. Shaping when it comes to bedroom matter, he's a champion. He's a James Bond on the bed. Just take it like that. And whenever you fit on you like this, you can conceive. Go ahead. Be borning your children, be looking after them. That's all you can get. Just hold on to it like that. And as for the rest, find ways of managing it. But what makes the problem to be worse is because everybody is looking not only for satisfaction, but also for transcendence. We even want spiritual experiences from our family. Something that it will take the whole community to supply. You want only one man to supply it. To be your friend, your confidant, the one that will make you happy, the one that will make you smile, the one that will recite poem for you. He also has to hustle to pay school fees. You have to choose one. Life is too complex for one person to supply. Some men complain too. And my wife should be the one that will wake me up for tahajjud. She should cook my food. She says salam alaikum. She should smile all the time. She should not cough. She should not laugh. She should not sleep. She should not wake. She should not drink. She should not eat. She should just be woman and she should keep quiet. And she should also pay. You have to choose one. In other words, what I'm saying is you can't have it all. I think that's one thing you can't. Please let people understand that you can't have everything. Things have changed now. Whatever you are able to get, let them, counselors, let them list the good things in their marriages and the things for which they are grateful, and let them list the bad things, the things that they are complaining about. You now weigh and compare, and then you find a middle ground for them to know this is how to manage this situation. If people can be realistic, then divorce will not be as high as it is. You know what I mean by being okay? Now the husband is earning 100K. Listen, no, he's earning 100K, and I know many husbands earn up to 100K. Many women would rather earn 150,000. Their husband is earning 60K. That's what we see majorly now. But let's assume the man is earning 100K, and you ask him to be saving 10,000 naira every month. Before he can save 1 million naira, he will save for 9 years plus. 9 years plus before he can have 1 million naira. But the house is 800K. They have not talked about peace for the children, and they still have to eat. Tell me, why won't there be problem in that marriage? Sometimes they even avoid calculating what their salaries are. They don't want to calculate because it is so depressing. And this 10K is saving now. It's not as if after 3 months you will not use it for some other things. Families are there, other things are there. Tomorrow now they say somebody died in the wife's family, or they'll say 6 daughters from the other family wants to wed. You also have to contribute. There will be this what do you call it when somebody is reacting to pressure? Aggression. Yes, there will be small aggression that couples transfer to one another. At the end of it, you know what will say? You will say the woman is a bad luck. You say she's a bad luck. And the woman will look at you and say, what are you even useful for? You are not useful for anything. Money you don't give. To make me happy, you are not making me happy. If the situation gets to this, counselors, please remind them of the importance of financial freedom and financial progress. When couples are busy with things that pays off, they may not have much time to quarrel and fight. Nobody likes to live a relationship that is good now. Nobody likes to live a marriage where things are moving on well. And some other times, it is bedroom matters that's the problem, but they won't tell. I have seen a lot of men like that who will later come to confess that will start. Actually, the reason why I behave like that is that then they will explain themselves. There's a particular guy, if he should sleep with his wife once, he will be sick for 2 weeks. Because naturally, it's not something he doesn't have the strength to do that. Not that he doesn't have physical strength that you say, yes, you see a real man. But when it comes to that aspect, what worse will you now do to the wife? And upon that, the man too will not want to calm down to say, sorry, this is my situation. He will still be being gra-gra about it. So please, let us not understand that point. In addition to all of the ones the council has saying, nobody can have it all. You only need to manage what you have and see that within what you can afford and within what you can endure, you are able to manage this. And people should not keep quiet. In as much as you should be careful of third parties, also look for counselors that will guide you aright on a daily basis. Every day things happen, every day quarrels happen, every day situations arise. Let there be people that are close to you. People that will be advising you from time to time, and people that will tell you that you are wrong if you are actually wrong, and people that will diagnose your problem, and as a third party that is neutral, they'll be able to tell both of you that this is your situation. I think that is one thing that is missing, and we should all get it back. May Allah make it easy for us. Sorry for taking more of your time. I just feel that the people that really need these things you are saying, they are not even here to come and hear. And it is really giving me running stomach.
So maybe we will take one or two from the coaches and we'll round it up.
One thing I want to add is that we should try not. Most of us have our courtship easy, we find it sweet, but when we get into our marriages, we start having problems because we don't nurture love. So if there's a problem, we should try as much as possible to ask questions. We should also listen, even without our spouses talking. It's very possible. Okay. It is possible to listen to your spouse, even without him or her saying a word, and try to address the problems. Okay. Well, so, like I said, we should listen to the unspoken words of our spouses, nurture love, and be patient. Inshallah, we'll get it right.
Assalamu alaikum. My own conclusion is, we are familiar with the saying that a problem shared is a problem solved or half solved, isn't it? We are all familiar with this. But my own advice is that if you have to share with the right person. That is the only way you can resolve issues peacefully. And here we are telling you that if you have to share, look for coaches in your area. You must at least contact coaches because they are professionals. They will not take side. And they will only listen to you and then tell you the ideal thing for you or the steps. They will guide you, in short. So if you have to share your story, share with the right person. And the right people are the professional coaches and counselors. May Allah make our affairs easy for us.
Amen. Okay.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
My contribution here is going to be, I realize most of the time we rush into these marriages. And in our ummah, we're having this problem of counseling. We don't have it. From where I am coming from, I've never heard of anything like counseling you before you go into marriage. We don't have it. So we need to work on this aspect in order to be able to manage people. Because where people are not guided, because counseling means guidance, we need to guide people. We need to guide our children. Sometimes I just look at children, they take their phones, they are busy talking about love, 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 without really knowing what love really is. So I think this counseling issue, we have to take it very serious. Before you get into that business of marriage, you need to be counseled. You need to know if you are really ready to go into this aspect of marriage, because marriage is a big business. But we take it for granted. We think marriage is just about getting married, pregnanting your wife, having family. It's much more than that. So I think counseling, we should take it very serious and we should engage in it. And we need more people to come on board, to be able to become counselors so that we can work on our ummah. We really need it. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. I think.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.
My takeaway from what Ustaz said, and I want to reiterate it so that it can sink, is we have high expectations. We go into marriages with high expectations. We expect this from our spouse, we expect that from our spouse. And a situation where these expectations are not met, we feel easily betrayed. And it causes a lot of problem in marriages. So I want to advise us to take what we see. When I mean take what we see, that we should stop comparing our lives with that of other people. We are all wired differently, and we have different blessings. So if you find yourself in a home where the husband earns less, make do with what you have. They said when life throws you lemon, make lemonade out of it. So make do with what you have and you'll be happy about it. But when you keep comparing your life with other people, happiness will run away from you because you will never be satisfied. And just to add to what the sister said about disobedience, I think communication, if you learn to express yourself, you always find a common ground. So we should learn to communicate more. They said communication is like a big bridge builder in relationship. Communication is the fuel that takes your marriage to the next level. So if you have any concern, don't expect your husband to read your mind and know what you are feeling or what you have in mind. Express yourself. And when you express yourself, you will definitely find a common ground.
MashaAllah, you express yourself, you will find a common ground. I think one coach still wants to say something. Our coaches really want to be.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Coach Falmata here said I should talk out of experience. Actually, I've been 40 years in marriage now.
MashaAllah.
So, for any marriage to work, it has a beginning. It has a commitment. It has to have patience. When I got married, my husband was doing his master's degree. He was a student at that time. I had to move to Gaya, his local government. From there to Zaria, ABU Zaria. Got a house in Congo, was where we stayed. From there, we now came back to Kano. He started lecturing. From lecturing, he went into politics. I don't have to say everything, but I know that was how it started. But it took me a lot of patience. You know, sometimes you have to entertain people that you don't really want to. You are not interested in those women, but you have to. Because your husband has put in something that he wants to achieve. So you have to help him achieve it. Sometimes you cook from morning to night. You cook, you clean, you entertain, you do everything. Because I want a woman to come to visit you because your husband is contesting for a position. So it takes a lot of patience, commitment, and belief. So that is how it has been. But if you believe in yourself and you are committed to what you are doing and you trust your husband, and of course your husband has to trust you, you will achieve it. Thank you very much.
MashaAllah. She ended with trust there. You still have questions to ask? Okay, before those questions, please, there's one promise that we promised in the broadcast, that there's going to be business pitching. So we want to entertain just two. But I'll call one first, then we'll go to question, then we'll come back again with business pitching. So the first person here. Okay, you also want to ask question, are you? Okay, let's hear your business. You just have 1 minute, please. In fact, 30 seconds.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
It's not actually a business I want to pitch, but something related to the topic. What attracted me, because I'm coming all the way from Gwagwalada, is that the topic says towards becoming undivorceable. Yes. And once I saw it, I said, yes, this is something I must attend. It's a very important issue. My name is Zuleha Yusuf. I'm a legal practitioner. I'm also an author. I write books on relationships. So, working with the FCC judiciary, all the cases I handle are divorce cases. And once they come to court, the petitioner does not want to hear. When you are telling them, please try to settle, we call your family members to come to court, let's talk about it, they feel that coming to court means that is a point of no return. And then the respondent, who is the husband, or sometimes it may be the wife, is thinking, you have brought me to court, so I will deal with you. So when you are begging them, they don't want to hear. And we discovered that the issues that brought about this point of no return, they are issues that have always been there even before they got married. So I totally agree with the counselor that was talking about premarital counseling. It is very, very important. I wrote a book, Identifying Red Flags in Relationship Before Marriage. And I was thinking that it was the single ladies that are going to message me to say, okay, I'm in this kind of relationship, what do I do? Do I go ahead? You know, because I always say that a broken relationship is better than a broken marriage. But the people that messaged me were married women who were saying, yes, I'm in a relationship with somebody that has all these red flags and there is nothing I can do right now. I saw the red flags, but I thought that I was going to be able to change. And sometimes it is the men. A man told me also that we are crying because we are men and we cannot talk the way women can talk. A woman can go to her family house, she can go to many places and lament, and everybody will be like, "Ah, you are really suffering." But a man cannot do that. And so I thought, how can we avoid all this? Then I saw again that all the issues mentioned here, ego problem, they are the factors that make it very difficult to go back. So I decided that, okay, let us write a book on how women can cope when they are in difficult marriages, because it doesn't have to end in divorce. The people that have divorced will tell you that it is not a tea party. It is not beans. It is a very difficult process. You know, the children suffer. When we call children into the judges' chambers and we say, "What do you think?" They are always crying. We don't want our mommy and daddy to divorce. We want them to stay together. We don't want our mommy to complain again. We want our father to stop beating our mom. And there is nothing, and we always explain to each other that as a court, we cannot force your parents. We say that you cannot force a willing partner on an unwilling partner. So our own is to try to mediate, beg them to settle out of court. If they refuse, there's nothing we can do. But the custody of the children will always suffer in one way or the other. So I wrote this book. It's titled "Coping Mechanisms in a Difficult Marriage."
So you're pitching once, you're
yes, I'm contributing and I'm pitching. So that I don't take too much of our time.
Okay.
And I'm working towards the hard copy, but the e-copy is available if you want it. And then the hard copy is going to be available by next month. So if you want it, I'm just going to pass a paper around. The coping mechanisms in a difficult marriage is targeted towards Muslims because my target audience is women. But my male readers have told me that it's a must-have for every family. Because somebody says it helps him to understand how his wife thinks. Like Ustaz was saying something very remarkable. I didn't think of that before, that you cannot have it all. Most times we are saying the society is bad, women are now the breadwinners, what do we do? But he's now telling us that it is not necessarily a terrible thing for it to be like that. You have to accept your situation. And in the book, I discussed many things. I talked about finding your life purpose, because like he said, if you are doing something worthwhile that is bringing in finance for the family, you will not fight so much. Your energy to fight will be dissipated, whether as a man or a woman. I talked about taking responsibility for your happiness. You cannot expect your spouse to be the source of your happiness, of this and do this, your religious. He cannot do it, so he's a human being. He's not Allah that is too perfect. I also talk about intention, renew your marital intention, renew it, and so many other things. Dua, ibadah, Quran. If you have a relationship with the Quran, your relationship will be good. And I discussed 20 mechanisms. And I believe that if you go through that book, inshallah, your marriage, at whatever stage it is, it will be better. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi
wa barakatuh. So if you see the paper she's passing around, please write your name and your number so that you'll be able to contact her for that. I think this is I want to ask a question now. A contribution.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Use the mic. Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, mashallah.
All right. My name is Leba Said Ibrahim, and I am actually a counseling and health psychologist. I actually want to make a few contributions. Most of us go into this marriages with, this mindset of one person has to contribute. By the time we go into marriages with this mindset of we have to make each other better people, better version of each other, it doesn't have to be one person has to contribute, or if he contributes or if she contributes, whether she does it or not. But by the time that you as a person, you feel you are obligated to do that, it might help change that person's mindset as well. There is something we don't understand. People actually learn from what we do. If you give 10%, that person would get tired at some point of giving 100% and start giving you 10%. And then it makes this love language. Sometimes we're madly in love with people, but we don't love them the right way. We don't love them the way they deserve to be loved. But if you understand the concept of this love language and loving that person the right way, or the way that person wants to be loved, then things would go a lot easier for you in your marriages. And then this aspect of what works for you, knowing what works for you actually really helps. If you know what works for you, you would not be so busy learning or trying to adopt what other people are using for their marriages. Red can work for somebody, but it might not work for you. So learn to understand what works for you and what works for your spouses. So it would help you build a better and a stronger bond with your spouse. That's all.
Who is next? Oh, let's go now.
So I think we have more questions. We will not have enough time. We can still do more next week, inshallah. So meaning that we are still coming here next week. Is that also? Inshallah, we are coming here next week. I think this is where Beinakum will also start its own program. So this is where we're holding Beinakum henceforth. It's not going to be in Area 11 again. So this is where we're holding Beinakum. Other councillors are also coming with their own program. So as they come, you also hear that. So next is we'll just hear the conclusion and remark from the host, Coach Khadija Abdullahi.
Alhamdulillah. Listened to Ustaz and we heard all that he has said. He talked about divorce syndrome, loneliness, self-blame, temptation, doubts, and all that. We also heard causes of divorce, like impatience, lack of understanding, emotional intelligence, and all that. That we can start to talk freedom. That when you get something doing, you will not even remember you have problems. Alhamdulillah. To discuss, you know, about the other. Okay. Okay. All right. In conclusion, I would like to thank Ustaz, to educators, our coaches in the house, and to all other people here. Alhamdulillah, thank you for coming. And I hope that you have learned so much. And inshallah, we'll all do better when we get back. May Allah bless our own. Assalamu alaikum.
Before we start, I want to just give you, I hope all of you enjoyed this. So, you know, he as a moderator. So I'm a moderator online.